The next group of accusations against me was my handling of discipline. Over the years as a coach, I have seen players, over my 20 years as a coach in several different places, I have seen players cursed, kicked, punched to the closed fist, knocked to the ground, helmets ripped off, verbally assaulted with degrading, insulting, profane, and demeaning language. That's not my style. If that's the style if that's the style you want, then you're right, I'm not your man for the job. My players follow my instructions because of respect for me, not fear of me. My career as a head coach began 20 years ago. I have always used the same methods of discipline for all my players. I address them one-on-one, without showboat, and total disruption of a practice time. Discipline is handled after practice. This is the first time I've ever been accused of improperly handling discipline in my 20 years as a coach. On this sheet is accused that there are 3 occasions where players used profanity and no disciplinary action was taken. This is completely false. Disciplinary action were taken each and every time. It's also accused that players who were late to football practice were not disciplined. This is completely false. Late players were properly disciplined each and every time. And in regards to late players, I would be the only one to know anyway, because all other assistants were involved with coaching the junior varsity when the varsity practice began. The only assistant not with the JV was the athletic director, who himself from time to time was late. As warm-ups began, I assume doing AD.
7-4-17.
The real truth is none of my assistants are even in a position to know whether I discipline properly or not. As I stated previously, I handle discipline one-on-one, usually after practice when all other assistants have left the practice field. Some coaches chose to make players run for poor performance. Lows, drop passes, fumbles, that kind of thing. This was a personal position coach's prerogative. Therefore, some players did ask, why is my position coach, why am I being punished while others are not? Hope I said that clearly. Some players asked why I am being punished in this position while other players are not in their position. That was a position coach's prerogative to handle it the way they thought best. The final groups of accusations against me are items I consider absolutely absurd. No organized structure during halftime of football games. The way we handle halftime is exactly the way we've done it in the past. A full team meeting followed by the coaching of each position, their position coach. Some assistants accused players of laughing and joking during halftime. This was an isolated incident at one particular game that was blown completely out of proportion. Details are on your confidentiality sheet of what happened that night. Lack of delegation to players and coaches. Players were given locker room cleanup duties and are held accountable for the cleanliness of the locker room. I use the same system in every sport. I've actually been in charge of locker room cleanup duty every year for as long as I can remember here. And it's the same as the years past. The players on cleanup duty are held accountable. In my 14 years as an assistant football coach here, we've never had chores delegated to coaches. We as a dedicated staff took the initiative ourselves to do things that were needed. However, if this staff feels it needs a to-do list, then I'll have one for them in the future. Some of the accusations include toilets rarely flushed. With approximately 70 football players using 2 locker rooms, it'd be kind of difficult to be in those locker rooms if toilets were rarely flushed. This was brought to my attention once. It was handled, and to my knowledge, it never happened again. That accusation is totally absurd. I do a locker room cleanup or a locker room check every night. The players know their responsibilities, and I make sure the proper players did their cleanup. The next accusation is players lost practice Players lost practice and game socks. Every pair of game socks were accounted for at the end of the year, other than the ones I threw away because they were ripped, tore, stretched, had holes in them. As far as practice socks goes, we give them one pair at the end of the year. We don't ask for them back. We don't want them back. The foul accusation against me is the fact we did not have towels at the Ware Shows football game. Now, this accusation is totally false. Like every game, I stack everything in the equipment room and the managers put it on the cart or on the trailer. On this particular instance, the managers left the towel stacked on the shelf. But I made some phone calls and I had towels there before the Ware Shows game, so we had towels at the Ware Shows game. This concludes my responses to all the charges against me. At this time, would Dr. Powell please verify that best his knowledge I've addressed all the charges? Can you do that? Thank you. My closing statement is simply this. I believe the most important thing that has come out of my statement is that very pertinent information was purposely withheld from the board as they deliberated my contract. Now that the board and the community have received all the information regarding this situation, now is the proper time to first begin deliberations of my contract. Let me also add that none of these accusations against me were ever discussed by administration when these incidents allegedly occurred. My personnel file will prove that not only was I not cited for any of these accusations against me, nor have I ever been cited for anything since being employed here 14 years ago. During this season, on many occasions, I asked the principal if he had any suggestions or criticisms about what was going on, how things going, what you think. His reply was always the same. Keep doing what you're doing, let's get through this first year. However, once my job was under review in a meeting with the principal and an assistant principal, Rick Franklin stated, I pissed off people who got me here when I supported you in the job in May. That statement concerned me greatly because it clearly indicated that his support for me, or lack of, is based not on my performance as the head coach, but on directives from the ones that got him here. My athletic director, Coach Huntsberg, is also my offensive coordinator. He stood beside me each and every week, each and every Friday night throughout the season. We even made comments to each other that, hey, we're in this thing together. Both of us are in our first year. At one point in time, at no point in time did he ever call me in one-on-one to criticize the direction this program was going. I also asked him on many occasions for advice on situations. Once he was notified by the administration that my job was under review, he made a 180-degree about face. There's no documentation of anything that I've done, any meetings we've had. So I don't understand the change. Other than one statement he made to me in a meeting, you understand this ain't personal? And I said, yeah, I understand. He said, I'm just doing what I'm asked to do.